Motown Magic.
Good plan, good plan. I'm John Quarterman. I live at 6565 Quarterman Road, which is way up on the edge of the county, but I do get my mail here in Bell. And I actually got a new electric meter recently. In fact, they made it a dumber meter. They used to be able to read it from the road, and now I have to come read it. The reason for that is I got additional solar panels, so many of them now they want to charge me coming and going. Well, actually, they charge me for what I use, and they pay me for what I send to them over what I use, but not at the same rate. It's a good thing. I'd like to talk about that. But what I actually came here to talk about was what I did not hear at the Industrial Authority meeting today. You may be wondering, what's that got to do with you? What I had hoped to hear was something about a rethinking of their previous decision on the private prison. In case anyone's not aware, that the Industrial Authority wants Corrections Corporation of America to build a private prison. It turns out it's on US 84 near Perimeter Road, right in the same area as the famous biomass plant. Anyway, never mind that. The thing about the private prison is being sold on the basis of jobs. There was a study done in New York State a few years ago where counties that had prisons and counties that didn't private prisons. And between the two sets of counties, in good times, bad times, times of recovery, in every case, unemployment was slightly worse in the counties with the prisons. Plus, there's a number of these prisons that are closing or never even opening after a budget expenditure because the prison population in this country is finally peaking because we simply cannot afford it anymore. It costs many more dollars to lock somebody up than it does to send them to college, as Nathan Teal, for example, has remarked on recently. And when we're cutting education budgets, we can't afford prisons in addition, and in particular, we can't afford a private prison. Another related thing is the Valdosta Daily Times has for years been trying to get information out of Valdosta State Prison as to violence and other problems out there and getting a runaround. The private prison isn't even supposed to follow the open records law. There's a number of other reasons. I have a letter to the editor of the newspaper this morning if you want a summary. But I had hoped to hear that the Industrial Authority had maybe changed their mind, but in fact all they said was, you may or may not know this, that the current extension of the contract with CCA expires on March 13th, which I consider a good thing. Now, two things can happen. One is the Industrial Authority and CCA could negotiate a third extension, or CCA could just send a notice to proceed saying, we want to do this. So the really surprising part to me is it actually says in the contract that notice to proceed is at the absolute discretion of CCA. And as I asked the Industrial Authority earlier today, has the Industrial Authority given away, abdicated its discretion or its authority to a private company? Does that seem right to you? It doesn't seem right to me. Okay, now you're probably still wondering, what has this got to do with you? You're not the Industrial Authority. When this project was announced, there was one article you may or may not recall, I believe it was August 2010, in the Valdosta Daily Times about this. This was because there was a semi-public announcement at which officials from CCA, Corrections Corporation of America, specifically praised the Valdosta Mayor and Council and the Lowndes County Commission and its chair for their aid in this project. So your name as council and mayor, I know it's not the same mayor, maybe not some of the same council members, but some of you are the same. And in any case, it's the same body, the same office of mayor. You're all, if I dare use the word, implicated in this project. So what I would like to see is perhaps you would find your way clear to say something about this before that March 13th deadline. Personally, I prefer to hear you say, we don't want private prison to have more prisoners that will be hired out to compete with local workers, such as Mr. Robinson is concerned with already having trouble finding jobs. We don't want a private prison that's more risky for the prisoners and higher risk of escape. We don't want a private prison that makes us look like a prison colony that will drive away knowledge-based workers like we want. That's what I hope you'd say. But in any case, I'd be very interested in your opinion, since your name as a mayor and council
heard? Any other citizens to be heard? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Second. Motion and a second. All in favor of adjournment, raise your right hand. It's unanimous.